Hi, I'm Father Jim Forson, and I'd like to share with you a few reflections on the gospel of this 21st Sunday of Ordinary Time. Wouldn't it be awkward if someone were to come up to any one of us and say, "Who do you belong to?" Who do I belong to? How do you answer a question like that? But if you were to ask a small child, "Who do you belong to?" they have the answer like that. They know exactly who they belong to. I belong to my mommy. I belong to my dad. They know exactly who it is that they belong to. But for us adults, I don't know quite how to respond to a question like that. I don't identify myself that way. I'm Jim Forson. And maybe sometimes people might say things like, "Oh, aren't you Kathy's husband?" Well, yeah, but I don't call myself that. I'm Michael. We're individualists. That's how we see ourselves. That's true of us, but that certainly was not true in the time of Jesus. They identified themselves very clearly by the tribe they belonged to, by the city they came from, by the family that gave them life. And we see that all over in the scriptures. People are referring to Jesus as Jesus of Nazareth, or they call him the carpenter's son. Or once when he's preaching, they ask, "Isn't this the son of Mary?" You are identified by your family, by your trade, by your village. So when Jesus is asking the question today in the gospel, "Who do people say that I am?" He's not wondering, like, what name do they have for me? No. What he's really asking is, who do people think I belong to? Who do people think I came from? And the answer that he receives is complimentary, but wrong. The answer basically is, they think you come from the class of the prophets, those sent by God to prepare the way for the Messiah and to herald his coming. You're the prophet, you're not the Messiah. That's who you belong to. That's the group that you identify with. But then Jesus asks the apostles, "Who do you say that I am?" And Simon immediately has the answer. "You're the Son of God. That's who you belong to. That's where you came from. You're the Christ." And Jesus is overjoyed with this. And he says to Simon, "No mere man revealed this to you." In other words, you didn't hear this through the grapevine. You know this because you know me. We have this kind of relationship with each other, that you've looked into me and you know who I am. I'm the Son of God. Blessed are you. And then he says something remarkable. He says, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah," which is, of course, how people would be identified, who his father is. And then he does something so different. He gives him a new name. And he says, "You no longer are Simon, son of Jonah. You are Cephas." In other words, rock, translated as Peter. And in giving him this new name, he is telling Peter who he belongs to now. You are no longer Simon, who belongs to Jonah. You are Cephas. You are Peter. You belong to me. And I belong to you. And on you, on this rock, I'm going to build my church. I guess to put it in modern day language, what he is saying to Peter is, you're my pope. You're the first pope. And I'm building the church on you. Now, if I had been back there at that time and heard Jesus say that, I would have been tempted to have said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 hold on there, Jesus. Are you sure about this? Peter? Maybe John is a better choice. John, he's faithful. He's going to be with you at the cross. He is there taking care of your mom. He's a good writer. Choose John. Or maybe Philip. He brings people to you. He's a good missionary. Philip is good. Or James. He's your cousin. He's your family. And besides James, it's a good name." But Peter, he's kind of a blowhard. And Peter talks a better game than he has, and he's going to abandon you and deny you. Peter? But Jesus looks inside Peter, and he sees something that maybe others don't see. He sees rock. He sees something so solid. He sees the future in Peter, and he builds his church on him. Now, imagine if Jesus were to come to any one of us and ask us the question, who do you say that I am? Well, this isn't a theology pop quiz. He's not looking for an answer like, oh, you're the second person of the Blessed Trinity. Well, that's true. But that's not what the question is about. And it certainly wouldn't be the hypostatic union, true God, true man. Again, true, but that's not the question. Jesus, in saying, who do you say that I am? He is asking, who do I belong to? Or in other words, do I belong to you? And what answer do we give to that? How would we answer that question, who do you say that I am? Well, maybe we can begin with a small child's answer. When we ask the child who do they belong to, they belong to their mom or their dad. And if we were to say, well, what makes you say that? The answer is very clear. I belong to them because that means they take care of me, that they love me, they protect me, they feed me. They're my all. Right. So were Jesus to ask us, who do you say that I am? Well, our response would be hopefully in that same vein. Who are you to me? Well, you're the one who understands me, who forgives me. You're the one who gives meaning to my life. You're the one who, without whom I would be lost. You're like that good shepherd. I don't know what I'd do if you weren't in my life. If you didn't belong to me and I belong to you. What would I be? Just one of a billion people passing through this earth and I die and that's it? No, you give me purpose. You give me meaning. You are life. That's who you are, Jesus. You are life. And then imagine if Jesus were to look into any one of us and give us a new name that would identify how we belong to him. What would that name be? I mean, he looked inside Peter and saw something solid and called him Rock. You're Peter. What would he say were he to look inside any one of us? What would be the name? Well, that might be a hard answer to come up with right away. But let's imagine it would be something like, you are lover. Now, wouldn't that be a great name to be given by our Lord? You are lover, or you are the giver, or you are charity, or you are esperanza, hope. What a wonderful name to receive from our Lord. Or maybe something like, you are earth mother. You are father to all. What wonderful name. It would be a name that would reflect intimacy. It's something that we do with each other. You know, we have sometimes nicknames we give to each other, and they reflect our relationship with that person. You know, my sisters used to call me Jimbo. And it was a term of intimacy, of endearment. And I even have a few friends now, Bob and Dan. They call me Jimbo. And that's because we know each other. You would never call someone Jimbo if you didn't know him well. I mean, if I say, who are you? I'm Jim. They wouldn't respond by saying, oh, hey, Jimbo. No, that would be bizarre because they don't know me. The name that we would have for Jesus is a name that reflects how deeply we know him. And the name that he would have for us is how deeply he knows us. That name would show how he belongs to us and how we belong to him. So, we have our homework cut out for us this week. All of us need to spend a little time reflecting on what our answer would be. Jesus coming up to us and asking, who do people say, who do you say that I am? Or in other words, do I belong to you? And that name would reflect my relationship with him. And just as importantly, what name would he give to us?